Hey, you all remember when these tariff wars were first kicking off and Trump was running his mouth off about Canada being the 51st state and making all these threats? And in retaliation against these threats, Canadian liquor stores pulled American products off their shelves, including Kentucky whiskey and Kentucky bourbon. And I seem to distinctly remember how a CEO was downplaying the importance and the significance of this by saying it was more or less not a big deal and that they'll be fine. Well, guess what's happening? The headline says it all. Someone cue the sad trombone.
Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So credit goes to the creators in these videos. Guys, in today's video, small business bankruptcies in America has jumped to nearly 30%, and that is not good. And no other reason because of all these tariffs that President Trump has put on goods from other countries. Because for these small businesses here, these tariffs are more than just a number on a policy sheet. It's more than that. It eats directly to their cost. Now, New York coffee shops are paying like 50% more for their beans from Brazil, right? Even California wineries face about 15% tariffs on French oak barrels and corks. And for these small manufacturers, these raw materials cost up to 15, say 25% more, right? And it is eating them back to back. For the big corporations now, the things can be different. They can hire lawyers, they can decide to switch their suppliers, they can move their production, all to dodge this hit. But for smaller shops, smaller businesses, they don't have that luxury. They don't have enough money, enough capital to do that. So they have two options. It's either they raise their prices or they risk losing their customers and go bankrupt, or they absorb the cost until they can't do it anymore and they just close their shops. Let's see what these creators have to say, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Some small businesses are being killed by the tariffs. Hey y'all, it's Kirk, and I want to talk to you about a motion that I read today in a case I've not previously talked about. This is a lawsuit that was filed by a number of small businesses and an association of small businesses which depend on imports to operate. And they have claimed in a lawsuit that they're being crushed by the tariffs that have been implemented by President Trump. What I'm looking at here is a 54-page motion for summary judgment that was filed in the Western District of Texas. That's where the lawsuit is, on August the 4th. And I'll just quote you a little bit out of what the complaints, or excuse me, the motion for summary judgment says. It says, as to tariffs, the president lacks the authority to issue any of them. He has dressed the executive orders in the guise of an, quote, emergency, end quote, by citing the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, or, quote, IEEPA, end quote. But emergency or no, IEEPA does not authorize tariffs. It has nothing to do with them. So the plaintiffs in this case are asking the court to enter summary judgment for them. Summary judgment is a process by which one of the parties to the lawsuit can say, hey, judge, we don't need to go any farther in this case. You have everything that you need to make a ruling in our favor. So that was filed on August the 4th. The administration will have the opportunity to respond back to that, and then ultimately the judge will make the decision. Whoever loses this case, y'all, I guarantee you there will be an appeal. As I hear more about this, I'll make sure to keep y'all up to date. As always, if you like my content, please think about giving me a like, a follow, and a repost. Thank y'all.
Did you know that small businesses have had a jump in bankruptcies this year alone? Today's article that I wanted to share with you is from INC, and it's talking about there's a surge in bankruptcies for business owners due to different changes that are happening in the economy and people deciding to close out their businesses. And as always, my name is Jessie. I like to talk about all things event, service-based, or small business impacted on my page to be able to help with making people aware of what's going on. And if you're an event industry pro, this does matter for some very clear reasons. It's to be aware of what's happening in the marketplace so that you're able to be strategic with your own business. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all about how you're going to protect your brand so that it's able to make it beyond 2025 and further. And the main reasons why a lot of businesses are having to consider bankruptcy is because they're facing higher interest rates, but inflation is getting a good amount of people as well. And the thing is that people are even pulling out debt. And when you have the debt that they're pulling out, it's just putting them in a squeeze, especially if their revenue is being impacted. And as we learned, the effective tariffs did not even go into place until on the 9th, so a day ago. It was either the 9th or the 7th, the official reciprocal tariff. So we really haven't even really felt all of the changes with inflation and tariffs. But for some companies that had to already buy supplies, especially for those of you that are doing event decor and AV and rental things, and you're getting those things imported, floral, again, all of those are being directly impacted by some of the things that are going on. And if there's not extra to be able to buy in surplus, people are having to make some really hard decisions. And so the article, it does share about it's gotten harder for people to file bankruptcy due to some changes for businesses that are making under 2.7 or have under 2.7 million in debt. So I do recommend for those of you that are considering it to see what that means for you and your business if you are thinking about it. And my point of view on this is that, yes, there are going to be some businesses having to make some really hard decisions. I'm seeing restaurants closed. In fact, I was supposed to go to an event at a restaurant last week, and we found out in the middle of the week that they actually had decided to close down that location. So companies are having to make some really hard decisions right now. And it all comes down to overhead and how much debt or how much of a hole they're willing to put themselves. And this is why I always talk about the importance of having systems and understanding what's going on in your business, because you don't want it to be that you're unaware of how much revenue you're bringing in, how much it's costing you to run it. And then also understanding, like, are you trending in an upward position or are you going down? So that you can make adequate choices. And the thing is that as a business owner, you have to be aware of the health of your business so that you're able to make informed decisions instead of guessing. So I would love to hear from you. Like, are you finding more businesses in your area are either closing or considering it? And hell, like, let's be honest, have you considered closing your doors too?
I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to be the reality for most of the small businesses. I already saw online that some of the small businesses are closing because, let's just be real, the fallout is already here. The stores are closing and jobs are disappearing because obviously the jobs are there because of these businesses, and these communities are losing the small businesses that keep their local economies alive. Okay, and remember, small businesses make up nearly half of America's GDP, right? I don't need to spell that out, you know what that means already. So when they hurt, when they bleed, the economy feels it, the whole economy feels it. It means fewer paychecks, less spending, because fewer paychecks automatically means less spending, and less spending would slow everything down, and then uncertainty kicks in because these tariffs are always announced suddenly. Imagine sleeping and waking up and the first thing you see on your timeline is that a new tariff has been imposed. There was no time to plan, there was no time to schedule anything. As a small business owner, it just eats you straight in the chest. You go to sleep on a Sunday night, you're waking up on a Monday morning full of energy, and then you pick up your phone and the first thing you see is tariff. Sometimes you get the warning just with an online post. Guys, your business was doing fine Friday before you closed, or Saturday night or Sunday, and on Monday things have just turned around. It could be a crisis, and because the supplies cost more overnight. Guys, I need to know what you think in the comment section.
Hi, everyone. So there was some reporting over the weekend about the fact that small businesses in the U.S. are absolutely drowning due to the impacts of tariffs. And this is alarming news given that small businesses have accounted for more than half of the jobs created in recent years. And the three major impacts that are happening could absolutely lead many of these companies to file bankruptcy. The first major burden for small companies is additional red tape from Customs and Border Protection. There are now additional hoops to jump through to ensure that the tariffs are compliant and that the government receives the tariff revenue. While big companies have internal departments that handle compliance and changes in tariff policy, small businesses are struggling just to understand what the tariffs are, let alone be compliant with them. And this results in additional time and resources for those small business to just continue doing business. The second negative impact on small business comes from the operational inefficiency related to managing through inventories and, frankly, just uncertainty. They don't have the same financial resources or distribution networks as large companies to stockpile and pre-order to protect their margins. And the third major impact to small business is financial. It's been estimated that $200 billion in tariff expenses will be borne by small businesses this year. And with an estimated 236,000 small business importers, this equates to a hit of $856,000 per firm per year. And while they may look to cut admin costs to offset some of this, these are companies that have less than 500 employees on average, so they likely don't have a lot of fat to trim. So the bulk of that cost will be passed on to consumers. And my 2 cents is that many of them will be forced into bankruptcy. Let me know your thoughts.
Kentucky is finding out. Kentucky, which voted for Donald Trump at a 67% clip, is finding out that Donald Trump's tariffs aren't so good for Kentucky bourbon. With 3 distilleries filing for bankruptcy in the month of July, and the sales of their spirits so bad that they had to send Rand Paul and Tim Kaine to Canada to try to smooth things over. Canada didn't bite. They still have all American spirits pulled off the shelves. You guys knew tariffs were going to be bad for Kentucky bourbon. He told you they were going to be bad. And now you expect your neighbor, who you've shit on this entire time that Trump's been in office, you expect them to just start buying your spirits again. You know, as he threatens invasion, calling them the 51st state. It seems Canada's a lot more important than anybody ever wanted to admit. Because they're certainly able to affect Tesla sales, and they're certainly able to put Kentucky distillers out of business. But congratulations, Kentucky. You're getting exactly what you voted for.
FAFO, right? It's just that those that didn't F around are definitely finding out. Because supporters, my guy, is saying that these tariffs protect American jobs. But, excuse me, how can you protect jobs if the businesses in which the jobs are under is going bankrupt? Because make it make sense to me. And many of the small business owners are the hardest by these tariffs. They used to be strong Trump supporters. Now they are asking that, oh, these policies now, are they helping the economy or they are hurting the economy? Because let's just look at it from this angle. It's not just about trade policy anymore. It's about survival. It's about maybe that coffee shop, that family winery, that small factory. It's about if they can really weather the storm. Because when this tariff shuts them down, the real cost is not just higher prices. So many things are going to be involved. There's going to be broken dreams, there's going to be job losses, and these communities will be left with empty storefronts. Guys, what do you think in the comment section? Because it looks as if there is more to this that is going to meet the eye. If you have found value in this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you can know when I hit you with a new video. And I'll see you in my next video. Please don't forget to stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.